You see, when people ask me, where is your hope? I always say the younger generation. And it's not, about being Pollyannish, because we know that there are issues still, even with our younger generation. But the truth is, Africa's game changers are three things: the young people of Africa, the women of Africa, and technology. Every year since we started the Big Ideas platform, we have consistently seen the children express themselves as those who are already taking charge of our future. And as a parent, we couldn't be happier, right? Anyone who is of the older generation of our continent should be pleased that what my dear friend Emma Sky said to us, that the future of our continent is actually bright, based on, anecdotally for now, the kinds of talents that she, in that little space of Yale University, gets to see, gets to support in their endeavors. Emma, your speech was not merely telling us of the backslides that we constantly deal with, that constitute lots or loads of stressors for our population. It also gave us so much hope. But every hope has to be worked. And how do I tie what you told us to what we've just seen in the competition amongst the children? It is that our children are ready to work our hope. I would think that we should clap resoundingly for all of our children. When our wonderful Rex, who by the way has been brilliant, was trying to get the children of the Ansaruddin school off the stage, did we not protest? When we protested, what happened? The injustice was corrected. And that ties me to what Funke-Treasure Akintoye was saying to us. Do not keep silent. She was basically giving us information we're not aware of concerning the young women and women more broadly, that menstruation is actually an issue. And you would normally think, well, we don't get to see how much of an issue it is. Well, for a long time, we did not think that people having malaria was an issue. You got malaria, they just simply went to a chemist and got you Panadol and told you to drink, and or whatever else they could get, until in development studies, research showed that malaria as a disease burden costs our continent as much as 2% of our productivity. That's significant statistically. So when new areas of knowledge come, we must not disdain. Funke-Treasure works in the trenches, supporting young women. And one key message that she brought to Big Ideas is the pad banks are important for our girls in schools. We hope that schools that are hearing us, governments across the country that are hearing us, understand that just by gaining efficiency in some of the outlandish spendings that happen in governments, that they can actually provide pad banks for our girls. If you support this call, clap. But before Funke came on, my dear friend Andrew Nevin, he is Canadian, but Andrew lived amongst us here in Nigeria as the chief economist for Price Waterhouse, better known now as PwC. And he asked us to test ourselves. I failed though. Because everything that he said about brain health and how it really is something that we're architects of. Whether it was the matter of how long do you hold your phone? Yeah, guilty parties are all laughing along. Yes. Okay. If you passed that one, let's see your hand. I'm glad that you're very truthful people. You're honest. None of you said you passed the test of not keeping down your phone, right? But remember, Andrew said to us that we are the architects of our brain. He also said something that made those two culprits, the VC, our Royal Digital Global VC, please help us to clap for our VC. My dear sister and friend, Alero Aida Otobo, and my dear brother, Frank Weke, who is the current chair of Fixed Politics. The two of them looked in my direction and said, I hope you scored yourself on multitasking minus 1,000. Andrew told us the science of the brain, that multitasking is actually not something to proudly, talk about. Did you get that? He said to us, scientifically proven, that whatever it is you're doing, give it all the attention. Finish it before moving on to another task. Did we learn something very useful at Big Forum this year? We certainly did. When I scored myself, I got a total of 17, and he said it's good power. But when I looked at myself, I said, I don't like just good power. I want to be at the 24, where those numbers show excellent performance. Because he did say something that you must take away with you. He said, aging does not lead to the brain functioning less. He said we could actually, as we age, do better with our brains. You know what that means? We have to pay attention. It means that the productivity of our nation intergenerationally can be out of this world if we would only be guided by the kind of knowledge that we received at this year's Big Ideas Forum. I want to be continually using this brain on a healthy path every day. And so we must take away the kind of knowledge that Dr. Andrew gave to us. He said something about having been with me. I invited him over to dinner when I was doing my fellowship at the Robert Bosch Academy in Berlin. And I told him, I have a big idea. And he said, what's your big idea, Oby? And I said, I am tired of us talking to tone-deaf political and public leaders on my continent. What we now need to do is to create a new pipeline of those who are trained to indeed be the leaders that will serve the people with competence, with capacity, but above all, with a strong ethical foundation, meaning that they must be people with character. And he said, so you think this would work? I said, hold my grapefruit juice. Is that what they say? Some say hold my beer, but I said hold my grapefruit juice. And we started designing. And that is the school that you see today, the School of Politics, Policy, and Governance. And it is this school that has brought this program, Big Ideas, to celebrate Africa Day every year. So Africa, through the Africa Union, says there's a 2063 agenda. That 2063 will happen only by virtue of Africa improving our productivity. Every conversation that we had here today, and with all my thanks to the speakers, Ezek's twins, Chine and Oby Ezekwesili, the whole concept of the framework of growth is actually productivity enhancing. I know of organizations that have used the framework as an audit process of what's going on in terms of productivity amongst their teams and the incredible outputs and outcomes that has fostered. Thanks for sharing with us something you learned during COVID because you observed nature. And in all that conversation, how could I not thank you, Professor Raji Mahmood, for telling us how important it is for us to actually design policies with a duty of care. I constantly say that empathy is such an important value for governance. And until we get to leaders who understand empathy, it would not change this idea that the big man is the one who is entitled to a good life, while the rest of the citizens suffer. Thank you for calling our attention to the fact that mental health of our citizens jeopardize our collective well-being. Thank you very much to all our other speakers and you, our dear friend, the journalists. Forgive me that my brain, Apollo, yes. Thank you very much for the points that you so well made. We're really so grateful. And ladies and gentlemen, as we know of ourselves at the School of Politics, Policy, and Governance, more famously known as SPPG, our drive to have a different journey of leaders, a different cadre of leaders that subordinate their own interest to the collective interest, is only made possible through the kind of focus we've given to the brain condition today. I want to let you know that research shows that by improving the brain state of the world, we can unlock $28 trillion to the global economy. Can you imagine? We didn't just set this up so that we can talk. We also just learned that from the parental level, caring for the children, caring for the people would nurture the brain. So let us go away from here hearing what the Ezek's twins said. The third item on the framework was what? Take responsibility. Please do not abandon your duty of care from the family level to your workplaces and ultimately to the nation Nigeria. And I want to thank Hawa. Hawa, where are you? Hawa Mohammed, please stand up, because I just want to use you as an example of what I said about the intergenerational thing. So Hawa, Our pioneer dean is Dr. Amina Salihu. And Dr. Amina Salihu, if you know her at all, is a woman of many parts. And when part of our policy at the SPPG is that deans graduate with their class. So she taught the pioneer class and she graduated with them. And a new dean took over. Now, when Amina stepped down from being dean, we immediately had a conversation and we said, we're setting up a thought leadership department and that she would head it. And Amina Salihu began to do the work of getting our thought leadership program going. First one, second one, our third one, right? And Amina is on sabbatical. And when Amina said she was going on sabbatical, we were like, oh dear, what are we going to do? Putting all the pieces for big ideas together. And Amina said, I have some young people who would be able to carry it. Ladies and gentlemen, did the young people carry it? They carried it well. Why did they carry it well? Because Hawa Mohammed stepped into the big shoes of Amina and began to coordinate the work together with Rex. Where is Rex? That amazing, Rex is the amazing young man that you saw who moderated the sessions, a graduate of the SPPG himself. You know what? There's no reason to despair. Africa will be fine. Nigeria will be fine. Our communities will be fine. We now have children who understand the concept of taking responsibility. And children who understand that character is a lasting currency. Hawa, we celebrate you and your team for the work. Please sit. Priscilla, you're a trooper. Priscilla is just amazing. I have known her from her work. And when you see a person like Priscilla, well educated, choosing to live in Igara, am I correct in this pronunciation of that community? Outside of Benin. And every day she writes about her work. I just read it and I smile. And I say, what a generation of women. Priscilla, my third game changer is women. You personify why that is so. But even data proves it, that by unlocking all the possibilities of the African women, that our continent will go many notches higher in our economic growth. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being such a champion for women and for girls. Thank you for being in the community and connecting to the place that matters most. We really love your work. Thank you. Now to the VC and the team at the SPPG, including you all, Temi and Ariola, and the rest of our colleagues from the fixed politics community, led by the chair. I just want to say thank you. Any idea, whether small or big, cannot happen because one individual is running it. Anytime you see people preaching one individual, you know that something is wrong. Don't ever agree with the idea that one cock crows at dawn. Any society where only one cock crows at dawn is already on its way to implosion. So this whole thing you have seen today is the benefit of having collective leadership of an idea. Our big idea for you is that you will no longer again stay small, because small is no longer beautiful. Thank you very much, and looking forward to welcoming you next year.